Welcome to Cord Cutting Today for August 15th, 2019. This is the show where I break down some of the biggest stories happening in the past 24 hours in the world of cord cutting. If you want to learn more about these stories, come up with your own opinions. In the show notes down below, I'll put a link to each story I talk about. And let us know what you think. We'll love to hear your thoughts on each story we cover. If you're new here, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up. It helps us a lot because it lets YouTube know you enjoy what we're doing. And hopefully we can help you break free from the high cost of cable TV. Real quick before we get into the news, don't forget we're giving away a Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K and $50 worth of Sling TV gift cards, courtesy of Amazon Sling TV. So special thanks to them for giving us these gift cards and Fire TV for the giveaway. Also includes some Fire TV swag like a confetti popper and more. So check that out. Link in the show notes. Multiple ways to enter. You don't have to do them all, but the more you do, the more chances you get. All right, let's dive into it. The biggest story up of the day so far today is brand new Roku TVs from TCL. There's new 8K. First time we're getting Roku TVs in 8K. 4K Roku TVs include an updated, improved version of the very popular 6 series. And even larger than 75-inch Roku TVs are on their way. So let's check this out. A few interesting things coming here that TCL announced, because some of this we knew about because it was announced at CES back in January. You probably saw our coverage where we looked at the 8K TVs that TCL was going to release with Roku TV built in on the show floor there. But one of the things that they announced today was that they have a new AI-powered upgrading system. So instead of using humans to try to manually tune the 4K upgrade from 4K to 8K or HD to 4K and more, there's now an AI-powered system that TCL has developed that will supposedly give you better 4K HDR images. So that'll be pretty cool to see how that looks. TCL has also announced an 8 series, which is a new high-end Roku TV. So this is a very high-end Roku TV. You've had the 6 series, that's still here. That's been one of the higher-end Roku TVs. But now you're going even higher with an 8 series that will include both 4K models and 8K models. It will also include a 75 inches we've been getting used to for the last few months. But they say soon there will be even larger Roku TVs, larger than 75 inches here. So this is a pretty cool upgrade here. Dolby Atmos audio will be included with it. And it will include a bezel-less, what they're calling full view TV. So this is basically a edgeless TV. There's still an edge, but it's much, much smaller than any of the other Roku TVs that have come out before. For people who really want that looking like it's not a TV, it's more like a picture on your wall. So it will come out this fall in the 65-inch and 75-inch 4K model. 8K models will be available and in sizes larger of 75 and larger, quote, soon. So hopefully before Christmas, we'll get the 8K models out. TCL 6 series was our pick for the best TV under $1,000, not just for Roku TVs, but under all TVs last year. And now TCL has announced an upgraded version of it. Again, it has the bezel-less view there, and it has the individual LED zones, improved number of them for better dimming and more. Which reminds me, one thing I forgot to mention on the 8K is the 8 series will have mini LEDs. So they'll have 25,000 individual mini LEDs on the 8 series, which will give you far more control over the brights and the darks and everything happening on the screen. So dramatic increase in the number of LEDs used to make the TV image. But with the 6 series, they're continuing the bezel-less look. There's an updated kind of a chrome, nice brush metal look to it, and new stand, total revamp of the 6 series out there. Again, it will also include Dolby Atmos audio on that 4K HDR for Dolby Vision, if I remember the spec correctly. And the 5 series is also getting an upgrade. It looks like the 5 series is going to basically be what the 6 series was last year. A lot of the similar specs, including the similar look and feel to the 6 series of the 2018 model, which is a very good TV. These are excellent TVs. More details in the show notes below on the post. I'd love to know, do you own a TCL Roku TV? Do you like it? I've been very impressed with our review models, and I'd love to hear your opinions on the TCL 6 series and 5 series, and what you think of the new, soon to be released 8 series that's coming out with 4K and 8K models. All right, one of the things I've been getting a lot of questions about is Viacom and CBS. What does this mean? Of course, there's a lot of doom and gloom out there, and we often talk about how doom and gloom sells a lot, so you see a lot of doom and gloom. But we really wanted to take a look at what this means. What does the CBS and Viacom merger into ViacomCBS, as the new company will be called, mean for cord cutters? And in the short term, it means nothing. There is no change for CBS and Viacom content right now. It's going to take months, if not a year or more, for this deal to be approved. It's got to get a federal approval. There's got to be shareholder votes. All kinds of stuff have to happen for this to be approved. So in the short term, nothing's changing. There's no reason to panic. I know panic is very tempting at all times. I hear from everybody about that all the time. Right now, there's no need to panic. Nothing is going to change in the short run. So keep that in mind. But in the long run, what does this mean? Again, probably not a lot right away. Many streaming services have contracts with CBS and Viacom. For example, AT&T just renewed both in the last month or two. So the current contracts for CBS and Viacom content needs to be honored. And that's why Discovery now owns Scripps, but Scripps is on some places where Discovery's not, and vice versa. It's because there's contracts here that need to be honored before they can renegotiate. Just because a company changes ownerships does not necessarily void the existing contracts. So keep that in mind. In the long run, though, we don't know. Viacom, after being a very anti-cord cutting service, let's just be honest, they were not very friendly to cord cutting for a while, has become extremely friendly to cord cutting recently, diving headlong into things like Pluto. They've announced that CBS content will be coming to Pluto TV, and that, yes, they really do intend to keep Pluto TV free. So in the short run, with Viacom CEO taking over the new company, I don't think we're going to see much of a difference here. Now, when contracts come up for renewal in a few years, will we? Won't we? We'll have to wait and see. But it's not like they're going to charge more for streaming and not charge more for cable if that ever comes to be. CBS Viacom will control about 22% or so of the TV market in the United States from the most popular shows. So it'll be interesting to see where this goes. But what I would encourage people to do is to remember nothing's changing anytime soon. Even when the merger happens, contracts have to stay in place. No reason to worry about what ifs, could be's, and more. I often hear people complain about how Pluto TV is going to suddenly start charging a fee, even though Viacom has said they intend to keep Pluto TV free. But yet people are very worried about it, so I just wanted to really address that. I wouldn't be worried. If there's something to worry about when it happens, we'll cover it, we'll let you know. So just keep that in mind. If you want to learn more about the breakdown of what's going to happen with CBS and Viacom content for cord cutters, I have a full post in the show notes down below. But again, no reason to be freaking out here. Or really, if I could get across one thing, worry about it when it happens. Don't worry about it now, because you can make yourself sick if you're just going to worry about everything. All right, next story up of the day. Your Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, and more accounts may have been stolen without you knowing. So this is a recent trend that we talked about many times. I know people are like, hey, Luke, you covered this like a year ago. Why are you talking about it again? A lot of people here are new, and we've seen a recent spike of this kind of stuff. So over the last year, we've seen a growing trend of people taking your passwords and instead of trying to use them to, break into your email or break into your bank account, they're just trying to find your passwords for streaming services. So they can go and try to sell them on the black market for a few bucks an email password. And there's been reports of 25 billion email and password combinations being listed and sold online. Some of this is done by malware. New malware, instead of sending spam, has increasingly just been watching for your emails. And then they take this and they sell it so that people will buy this kind of stuff. And you may have noticed, I've had this happen to me. We had a Hulu account that honestly I hadn't changed the password since I got Hulu back around 2009 probably. And it was actually the same email and username password for a Yahoo account that I had from 98. It was my junk Yahoo email account. Well, somewhere along the lines, because I used that password everywhere and that email everywhere, it got compromised. And it may not, and it probably doesn't come from Netflix Hulu. It may not even come from having malware on my computer. It could have come from, I signed up for a forum somewhere to post a comment, use that email, use that password. That got compromised, and then they just started using these passwords on different services to find one. We discovered that somebody was using our Hulu, and there it goes. It happened to us over a year ago. It could happen to you, so keep that in mind. But there's a few things you can do. You can go into many services. They offer the ability to see who's been using your account. The other way to notice if somebody's taking advantage of your password is, do you start noticing shows in your watch list that you didn't create? Is there a profile on your Netflix account that you didn't make? And more. So keep an eye for things like this. A few tips: always use a antivirus on your computer. Many Windows ones and others come with it built in now, Windows Defender, but you can always get something like Malwarebytes. And never use a password that you use elsewhere for like your bank. Your bank account password should be the only place you ever use that is for that bank account. And that way you're not using your bank account passwords, etc., for other stuff. And you may want to think about using your streaming services passwords nowhere else either. I know we probably all have that junk email account and that junk password you use when you have to use a website and they're making you log in. And we use that. Don't make that account or a password tied to your social media to a streaming service or more, because a lot of times hackers understand that, hey, Netflix, Hulu have pretty good security, probably not perfect, they probably someday get hacked. But let's target websites and forums and so forth that are small, maybe with a few thousand users, but probably don't have the greatest security. So keep that in mind. If you want to learn more about this, how you can check, how you can protect yourself from having somebody use your account, because the problem with this is you may think, oh, who cares? But they can make changes to your plan. I've heard from people where suddenly their Netflix account got upgraded to the highest one, or they were trying to stream and like, hey, you're using too many streams at once, you can't do this, you can't do that. So keep that in mind. There is a reason to not want this to happen to your account. And as always, you don't want your passwords out there. So keep in mind, be careful what passwords you use where. Be careful, make sure you're using official apps. One of the ways they get this sometimes is fake Netflix apps that appear to offer cool features the regular Netflix app doesn't do. Really, it's just an effort to steal your login information. So keep that in mind. And let me know, have you ever had your account stolen? Leave us a comment, let us know your story. Are you a Verizon wireless customer? Good news for you. Verizon is going to offer NFL Red Zone for the entire season for $9.99 if you're a Verizon Up member, which is their rewards program, which most Verizon regular customers will have access to. This is a great deal, few limitations. It's only good for mobile devices. You can't use it for your Roku, Fire TV, and more to watch it there. But if you're looking for NFL Red Zone on your mobile iOS or Android, this is a pretty good deal. Verizon posted an announcement about this yesterday. Some people have said it's not live yet. Somebody this morning said they were able to get the deal, so it may have gone live overnight, even though the announcement went live late yesterday. We have a YouTube video and a statement from them in our story. But to get eligible for this deal, you must have a smartphone with an active Verizon account in good standing, be on a standard monthly plan such as unlimited shared data, Just Kids, or basic plans. Be a resident of the United States, have the My Verizon app downloaded on your phone, and be 18 years old or older. Those are the conditions. If you want to read them again in the show notes. How to sign up for Verizon Up if you're not, just go into your My Verizon app, tap on the Verizon Up in the navigation menu, and then follow the prompts to sign up for Verizon Up to be eligible for things like this. Seems to be Verizon's answer to like Netflix and Sprint offering Hulu or Netflix. And it's a pretty good deal. So check it out. I know a lot of people want NFL Red Zone. It's nice to have it on the TV, but I'm kind of the person, I like to have it like on my phone, sitting next to me as I'm watching the game. Got like a second screen experience happening. If that's you, if you're like me, for $9.99, you get an entire season of NFL Red Zone. Much better deal than paying $10 a month to Sling or to PlayStation Vue to get that. And again, if you want to learn more about how to get that, link in the show notes down below. All right, 5G internet is something that's been a hot topic. A lot of people have been wondering, what's this going to cost? When it's going to coming? Well, we have another company launching 5G, this time in California in a handful of cities. It's called Common Networks. It's a 5G provider out there from some people with experience in the industry, and they are offering up to 300 down speeds with internet packages starting at $34. This is going to be available in the Bay Area, Alameda, Santa Clara, San Jose. I'm hoping I'm saying that right. In Sunny Valley, California. I butchered all those names and I apologize. Haven't had my coffee yet this morning. But they're going to offer 20 down internet speeds for $34, 80 down for $39, and 300 down for $49. These are competitive pricing for 5G high-speed internet. Honestly, if all you want to do is have Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon, that 80 down for $39 may be a price point you want to check out. I mean, 300 down is great, especially if you're doing gaming and other things, but if all your streaming is Netflix, you're probably not going to take advantage of this. This is something I've been talking about for a while, about how easy it is to set up these wireless networks. It's very expensive to set up a wired network, fiber or copper or anything really, because you have to dig up every street, you have to run it to every home. Extremely high cost to sign up new customers. With 5G, I run wired down the main street and I can wire an entire neighborhood in a fraction of the time it would have taken me to wire a single street in that neighborhood using fiber, etc. So if you live in California, you live in one of these markets, it's launching in a handful. Of course, these kind of things launch in a few and then they grow from there. And it's just one more company. You got Starry and C Spire, not to mention the big name companies like Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile launching high-speed internet. So keep an eye on that. More to come, but for the pricing, it's one more example of how 5G internet for home internet is really going to be a legitimate competitor to DSL and cable. It's got the speeds, it's got the pricing. It's going to force Comcast, Spectrum, AT&T, and more to have to respond as these services become more and more popular. Studies have shown the more services there are, typically the faster the internet speed is and the cheaper it is per, whatever way you want to look at that. So let me know, anybody here have the 5G? I know I've talked to some core cars using like the Starry 5G system. Love to know what you think of it. If you have Verizon, Starry, or C Spire, or one of the other 5G ones out there. All right, last story up of the day. T-Mobile and Sprint have received a recommendation of approval from the FCC chairman. If you remember, the Department of Justice has already approved the merger of T-Mobile and Sprint. Now it looks like the FCC will follow suit now that the chairman of the FCC has come out publicly in support of it. Still facing some headwinds here that the T-Mobile and Sprint merger is facing a lawsuit from a bunch of states that seek to block it. But at least at the federal government level, the deal to sell a bunch of bandwidth and Boost Mobile to Dish as part of what will probably be called Sling Wireless will be enough to approve it through the federal government. Will it get through courts? I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't, to be honest with you. In the current world of mergers, it seems like the department, or they're erring more on the side of approving them. We'll see. This is probably far from done, but it's good news for T-Mobile and Sprint. They've really been pushing for this merger, and it looks like it's going to become a reality. I'd love to know what you think. Are you a Sprint and T-Mobile customer? Would you be excited about this merger? What do you think about Dish buying up Boost Mobile and rights to bandwidth from T-Mobile? That will allow them to become the fourth largest provider of wireless phones service in the United States. Leave us a comment, let me know. Well, that's it for today. Don't forget about the giveaway, 4K Fire TV stick, and a $50 worth of gift cards to Sling TV, plus some other stuff. Link in the show notes down below. Well, I'll be back tomorrow, back in the office next week. I'll see you all soon. Thanks for your support, and check back real soon for more cord cutting news, tips, tricks, and reviews.